All right, guys, welcome to Flavo Rihanna's MMA show, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. I'm your host, Flavo Rihanna, and man, UFC Vegas 89 is officially in the books. A typical Apexy type of card. I mean, there's a lot of storylines that can come with this. Rose Namajunas ended up getting a much needed victory in the flyweight division, something that she was trying to do last year and she wasn't able to do. Obviously, the biggest storyline is the whole Igor Severino bite, him biting Andre Lima. We got the return of Yusuf Zalal defeating Billy Quarantillo. And what's it called? That co-main event was a very heavyweighty, dragged out type of co-main event. I can never pronounce this thing. It's the penultimate, a penultimate fight or whatever it is called. I sometimes have tongue twisters, these type of things, but yeah, UFC Vegas 89. We're gonna get right to it with the main event. Rose Namajunas versus Amanda Ribas. Amanda Ribas, dog fighter, fights in both strawweight and flyweight. She sometimes jumps up and down. I actually like her better at flyweight than strawweight, just because I feel like you can get her at her most complete level. Just because, I mean, she always is depleting herself. I think she naturally walks around like 147, 145, around that range. So for her to cut about like a little bit over 30 pounds to get down to strawweight, I know that she's usually a big fighter at strawweight, but I feel like, you cutting so much weight, it really takes away from your game. And, we saw her fight, strawweights, the bottom tier strawweights, and her beat up on them, And then whenever she would flyweights, I mean, it would, she would be able to hold her own too. I mean, she's a big girl. But she ended up fighting Rose Namajunas. I think Amanda Ribas was, I think, ranked number 8, if I'm not mistaken. And Rose, not ranked last time. She fought Manny Fiorot in Paris, and I believe she ended up breaking her finger or her hand in the first round, and it just wasn't really the same. She was fighting with one hand throughout the entirety of the fight, and Rose was able to manage. She wrung out to a decision with Manon, and it wasn't in the cards for her. This time, she ended up fighting it out to a decision. I originally had placed a bet of Rose Namajunas plus the under 2.5, and that clearly didn't hit because although Rose, looked like she filled out in weight a little bit, she doesn't look like a complete flyweight, but she doesn't look like she's a strawweight anymore. And when she fought Manny Fiorot, she looked like she was a complete strawweight. She just looked like a strawweight that just got beefy, And this time it looked like she put on a little bit of muscle. It did at one point. I did feel like it was two strawweights that didn't cut weight that fought in this fight, but nonetheless, I mean, Rose Namajunas had a pretty good game plan. She won the first 2 rounds, and then Amanda ended up winning rounds 3 and 4, and then Rose ended up winning round 5. But it was, it seemed like Amanda Ribas was trying to get the timing of Rose Namajunas, and I just think that she ended up finding it a little bit too late, and then Rose was able to make that in-game type of adjustment that she needed to do to secure the victory. Much needed victory, and nonetheless, I mean, she called out the winner of Manny Fiorot versus Aaron Blanchfield, which is actually happening this weekend. They're fighting in Atlantic City. Card is awful. I would say that it is awful. They have not sold out that card whatsoever. There are plenty of tickets. There are rows that are not even bought out at all. I think for that Atlantic City card, I think you can get your cheapest ticket for like $135. I mean, around this time of the year to be strolling around in Atlantic City isn't really worth it, in my opinion. I mean, March, April, things start to pop off in Atlantic City around Memorial Day up until as deep into Halloween. Okay. But yeah, this Atlantic City card is dog shit. And I will tell you this, in next week's video, I will say that I'll be very surprised if I'm very excited to go through the entire event. But for this card, for UFC Vegas 89, I mean, honestly, like, she had a good call out. Like I said, she called out Macy Barber. She called out the winner of Blanchfield versus Manon. Me personally, I feel like Erin Blanchfield is going to win. I wouldn't want to see her fight Manon Fiorot again because we already saw that. And it's still somewhat fresh. I really would like to see her fight Macy Barber. But I do feel that Macy Barber has the advantage over her. She's a big girl. She's going to have that size factor over her. She has the way that she fights, it feels very bully-like type of a fighter, where she's a hoss, she's all up in you. The thing with Rose Namajunas is that she fights somebody like Macy and she tries to carry that same type of fighting style. Rose is very sneaky good. She's a good counter striker. She can, catch you with a right hook and drop you. I mean, you saw what she ended up doing to Zhang Wei Li in Jacksonville. I think it was Jacksonville, right? Yeah, it was Jacksonville. It wasn't. She didn't throw no punch, but she timed it and she caught her with that high leg kick and bam, dropped her. To this day, I still feel that Zhang Wei Li was still feeling the effects of that fight that she had with Joanna Jędrzejczyk. That's why that was actually her first fight since that fight. But that's neither here nor there, because we never seen Zhang Wei Li get dropped like that ever since then. So, but yeah, Rose Namajunas, I mean, good call out for Amanda Ribas. I mean, Amanda Ribas can go back and she's gonna fight your number 10 through number 15 flyweights. I think that Amanda Ribas is gonna be a very good, solid gatekeeper for, I would say, to enter through the top 10. And I feel like her ceiling could be as high as top 5, if she's match made correctly, right? Yeah, Amanda looked pretty decent. I just think that she just, couldn't make that extra necessary in-game adjustment in round 5 that would have solidified her the victory. Because Rose was able to do that because she has 5-round experience and Amanda doesn't. And I think going into her next fight, I think Amanda Ribas will be able to learn from that mistake, because Rose realized that she needed to win round 5. She realized that Amanda was, pressuring her, and, when she ended up taking her down, it allowed her to win a couple of rounds. And Rose just needed to, get the separation that she needed to get the victory. But yeah, learning lesson for Amanda. I think that she'll bounce back from this, and I think that, like I said, she's gonna be, somebody to watch out for in that women's flyweight division. Uses of Law versus Billy Quarantillo. Billy Quarantillo, I know he's a fan favorite. Uses of Law. I actually liked him coming in when he got into the UFC. I think he was 3-0, and then he ended up facing guys like Sean Woodson, which, that was a pretty bad matchup stylistically. Sean Woodson's also like 6'2", and he's super lengthy, super skinny, former boxer. And that was just a bad style matchup for Usus Alal. I think he also faced Damon Blackshear on short notice, and when he ended up dropping down to 135 pounds, and then Damon Blackshear just, mauled him. And I believe that was on short notice as well too. Zalal took this fight on short notice, fought Billy Quarantillo. Has looked pretty good in the regional scenes. And I think he also had like a kickboxing tournament where he ended up fighting 3 times in the same night and then knocking everybody out. I know it wasn't UFC caliber type of opponents that Zalal was facing, but when he came into the octagon, I mean, he did his job. I mean, I had Zalal winning going into the fight. I mean, on the Discord that we are on, we had Zalal at a good price. I think it was a plus 120, if I'm not mistaken. I was also able to get him again on an extra line for a plus 115 right before the weigh-ins happened, because I know a lot of things was being exposed on Twitter, where it looked like the left arm of Billy Quarantillo was heavily compromised. So a lot of money was just going in on Usus Alal, to the point where it was kind of becoming pick'em, which, I'm glad that I got the lines that I needed to get before the lines ended up shifting dramatically the way that they did. But Zalal comes in, does his job. It was able to submit Billy Quarantillo. I feel like Billy Quarantillo is on the back nine of his career. I don't have my phone with me, but I can definitely get it real quick. Hold on. But let's check Tapology really quickly while I have the chance. Because, give me 1 second. Yeah, Quarantillo fought Damon Jackson. Don't really think highly of Damon Jackson. I don't think he's okay of a fighter. Lost to Edson Barboza. I mean, we saw how that fight ended up going. Barboza almost killed him. Beat Alexander Hernandez. I mean, Alexander Hernandez, that guy has been fighting, extremely tough competition ever since he ended up knocking out Benio Dariush. I feel like that was the catch-22 of his career, because, you get a highly ranked fighter, you knock him out unexpectedly, and then you fighting like a murderous row of fighters. And then you lose to Shane Burgos, and Shane Burgos was on a roll at that time. Beat Gabriel Benitez. I don't know how you lose to Gavin Tucker. I think Gavin Tucker is terrible. And then you beat people like Kyle Nelson, Spike Carlisle, who's not that great. And this is in 2019. What was this? Jacob Kilburn? I don't remember that fight. But pretty much, what's it called? Billy Q has always been able to beat up on lesser opponents. And Zalal, I feel like he is, his trajectory is going up. Billy Q is going down. And that's kind of the reason why I favored Yusuf Zalal over Billy Q. What was the other one? And then also the Igor Severino versus Andre Lima fight. Honestly, like, that was a fight that I was very interested in. Actually, I have another two more fights I want to talk about really quickly. But let me talk about this. Severino versus Lima. I was interested in this fight because both fighters, Brazilian, they were undefeated prospects coming in. They were birded in the prelims, but I picked Andre Lima just because I feel like Lima is the better prospect at this very juncture, and also feel like the age factor of Severino was going to be exposed just because of the experience level. And Lima was winning, right? And Severino, it's not like he was losing significantly, but it was kind of close. But there was a point in time, I think it was in round 2, where Severino was trying to pull back on Lima. Wasn't able to, because I think Lima was holding on to the fence, which he was holding on to the fence way too many times for that fight. And then out of frustration, Severino just goes in. You're not going to see it clearly on camera. I mean, you'll see the indent afterwards, but you see Severino just bite onto the inner part of the arm of Lima, causing a huge bite mark. And man, I gotta say, never seen that happen before. I think I've seen that in a couple street fights, in where the guy who ended up biting the other guy just got mauled by other people for such a pathetic source of outcome, I wish I could say more, but you guys know where I'm not gonna, go cursing and stuff like that. But man, it's not what you want. Referee Chris Ione ended up going to the review monitor. No warrant. He gave Severino no warning. Disqualification right off the bat. I fully agree with it. I know a lot of people were giving Brendan Fitzgerald a lot of crap for like how come no warning, but I think he got quickly he quickly changed his tune after he was like, all right, after seeing the bite, it's completely understandable. Because that bite mark was terrible, and Dana White ended up meeting with Andre Lima. He ended up giving him a $25,000 bonus, and then shortly afterwards, you see Andre Lima ended up going to get, before the bite mark disappeared, he got a tattoo of it too. I'm hoping he was able to get that cleaned out. It doesn't look like he had any skin broken, but man, that is, I don't know. I mean, that feels unsanitary. I wouldn't do that. It's one heck of a story. Dana White saw that. Instead of giving him a $25,000 bite of the night bonus, which I think is kind of funny, he gave him a $50,000 bonus on top of his win and show money. So Andre Lima is actually, living pretty nice, And yeah, I mean, wow, I wasn't really expecting that for the prelims, and that was the biggest talking story of UFC Vegas 89. I mean, the second biggest talking story outside of the main event was Peyton Talbot versus Cameron Simon. I was hyped about this matchup. You have two prospects, Peyton Talbot undefeated, Cameron Simon coming off of a loss over Christian Rodriguez, who ended up missing weight in that fight again. And what's it called? Cameron Simon, he got obliterated in round one. Peyton Talbot was putting a clinic on him, giving him the business and everything more. And I was surprised that Simon survived. And then going into round two, within like 30 seconds into round two, Peyton Talbot just drops Cameron Simon and knocks him out. I don't know. I think that Cameron Simon needs to take a break, to get himself rewired correctly. Because, I felt like he was a pretty good prospect coming into this week. Now you're coming off 2 consecutive losses. I feel that, the coaching staffs of Cameron Simon needs to sit him down and be like, yo, we are going to try to get you back on track. But, you're coming off two losses. You got dominated against Christian Rodriguez, who again, missed weight. And then you almost got killed against Peyton Talbot, who a lot of people are very high on too. They might need to fight somebody that's, just got signed from the regional scenes, who doesn't really have that high of a future, high of a ceiling, just to get Cameron Simon back on track. Because I think Cameron Simon is going to be a pretty good bantamweight in the UFC. I just think that Simon just got overmatched, and once he got overmatched, I felt like he had no way of trying to readjust his game plan, because Talbot's just that good. And then lastly, Evan Shabazian versus AJ Dobson. I don't know. Shabazian's very, very weird of a guy to. I wouldn't put money on him, to be honest. But especially on no parlay, because he was getting pieced up by AJ Dobson, and then by luck of the straw, in an exchange with Dobson, he ended up just throwing a lucky right hand, dropping Dobson, and then just TKOing him, having the ref stop the fight. Yeah, Shabazian, this guy was supposed to be like the future of the middleweights, and now he is somebody that we can label as could've, would've, should've. Got matched up with bad, with bad style matchups, and was able to fully, get himself back on track. Because ever since that Derek Brunson loss and Jack Hermanson loss, the man hasn't been the same again, and the man hasn't peaked any type of high level of a fighter that we once thought of him as since those losses. So it'll be interesting how they matchmake for Edmund Shabazian, because that man, if he gets matchmake with a wrestler, everybody knows to bet the other way. So, but yeah, guys, UFC Atlantic City is next week. Man, I don't know how to think about that, but let's see how that goes. And then we're on the road to UFC 300. But until then, guys, I am Flav Oriana, and I will see you guys on my next video. Until then, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. See ya.